This is Hog Farmer Chris from the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation. And before you start listening to Red Zone in the Lab, check out our Amazon Smile, a simple way to support the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation every time you shop, and it's no cost to you.
We're back! Welcome back to Red Zone in the Lab with Deuce.
Welcome back. This is season 3 of Red Zone in the Lab podcast. We are going to be discussing entrepreneurship, education, Black history, health, movies, family, and of course, sports. Please follow, subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Twitter, and our Instagram and Facebook, and also website www.redzoneinthelab.com.
We are back in the lab, and entering the lab this day is the great Petey, Jet Lounge host, Jets fan. Petey, what's good today, man?
What's up? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you for taking the time to enter in the lab and talk a little bit about you and, of course, the Jets. We're going to get into the Jets, talk a little bit of Jets. That's cool with you?
Yes.
All right. So I know Petey from Twitter, right? We connected on Twitter. I have this whole different friend base or family base from Twitter within these last few months with really a lot of cool people, man. And Petey is one of them. So I've been, trying to get you on here. So I appreciate you for coming on. But for people that might not know you outside of Twitter, man, who is Petey? Where did you grow up? What's the family base like?
All right. So I was born in Brooklyn, moved out here to Jersey when I was young. But, I'm Italian. I come from, I grew up with a diversity, friendship with people. So like where I came from, it was mostly Italian. And then when I came out to Jersey, my first 3 friends were Black, and it was like, cool for me. But, I didn't, it wasn't me, but I kind of feel like I got stereotyped by other people, not by like in general. But, I just, not even took a chance. That's who I was, and I just grew up and I learned about every kind of culture, you know what I'm saying? And I just diversified myself, and I didn't try to be different. I just tried to be me. And, I'm still like that today. And that's what's the beauty of it. I like treating people, equally. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I feel like I have to, because I like having dialogue with people, and I think it's very important in today's day, and being in a football family, like, the Twitter world is, it's nothing but diversity. And, I just love hearing from everybody, and I just treat people the way I want to be treated. And that's, with respect. And I like to have fun, and I love sports, and I have loyal friends, and I'm loyal. That's the one thing. My best trait in me is loyalty. And today's day and age, there's not a lot of loyalty. And being a Jets fan, you have to be loyal.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate you kind of starting with that, because one thing, we have our parents and we have our family, and, we have our culture. We're brought up a certain way. We're trained a certain way. We're taught a certain way. But once we get old enough to comprehend, and if we really want to look at things at a different perspective, then we do the research. We kind of start reading around and seeing, is this something more than what I was taught when I was young, and then act accordingly. So someone like you that's willing to admit, the changes you had to make from what you were kind of taught, in a sense, it speaks volumes to you as a person, and anyone that's listening or watching. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I don't do that, to kiss up to anybody. It's just who I am, and I'll tell you a funny story, man, before we get into football talk. So, my good friend, now he's Black, and he married a white girl, and I'm the only one I was the best man at the wedding, and I'm the only one who figured out why it was a black and white cookie. everybody thought because they were good cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And I made an announcement and everybody was scared. Like, and I'm like, what? They're black and white cookies. The
Right.
black guy's marrying the white girl.
Right.
You know, and bro, people, they started laughing. They're like, Pete, how did you figure that out? And I'm just like, cause I know, you know, like, and then people started like, you know, like getting a little bit looser. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you embrace it. You know, things like that. You know, I was brought up like that. You know, don't worry, white girl in that sense. You know, but it changes. You know, like you're saying, you find out who you are. You know, you find someone you love, and if it's spiritually based, because that's why I'm spiritually based, and that's where it comes from. So I look at it as whoever. You know, Jesus puts there for me, wherever he sets up for me, then that's what I go with. It's not really about color. Once you get it, once you understand your spirituality, you know, being a Christian, whatever it is that you, then it's a point where you kind of separate those things.
Yeah, and it's crazy, man. I didn't, when I saw the topics today, and then I don't know, man. You see what I'm saying? Like how this started right away. It's good. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know why this just started like this, but this is good, man. I'm like really passionate about, you know, talking like this, you know, and everything isn't football, you know what I'm saying? But I just love, you know, what this Twitter stuff has done for like people like you and I, you know, it's a great platform, and I want to continue to help people and, you know, grow this thing, you know, whatever we're doing, we got to support each other, you know, because there's enough spaces at the end of the day for everybody.
Yep. It's enough space. It's enough room. It's enough space for everybody. No pun intended, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So let's get into a little your Jets fandom. Where did that come from? Are you a specific generation Jets fan? Did you kind of see it on your own? Where did it come from?
Well, my father was, you know, he always went to sporting events. So, you know, he took me to a Jets game once, and I just thought it was cool. But I went to the game and they were doing JETS, Jets, and I heard this like echoing thing of like oon, and I asked my dad, what is that? And he's like, oh, that's for Al Toon. When he catches, they go Toon. So I couldn't wait until he caught a ball. And then I kind of did it with the crowd and heard everybody doing it. And I'm like, man, this is cool. And then they did the Jet chant there, and it was going back and forth, you know, from this side to that side, and then from lower to lower. And I just thought it was cool, and it just caught on with me, man. And my dad used to take me to a game a year. And then, you know, then eventually, you know, he got tickets, you know, full seasons. And I believe it was 1990 we got full season tickets.
Man, that's wild. How is that experience to be a season ticket member?
I mean, it's great, but, you know, I'm getting older now. It's kind of getting exhausting. It's like a job. You know, I got 2 young kids now. No, I'm not going to divulge my age, but if you hear I got season tickets for 30 years, you know, I'm
I kind of put 3 and 3 together.
I'm not that old, but and it's just, you know, it's getting to be a job, and I just love the Jets so much, but you know, I just want them to win, man, and I'm just waiting, and I'm just hoping, you know, I know I'm not approaching death or anything, God willing, but you know, I just want the Jets to win before I die.
Yeah, I feel you. Why do you say it's like a job though?
Because I get up, you know, I tailgate, you know, I cook, you know, I like to, you know, when somebody drives me, because I have a good story, like I'll tell you guys about in a minute, but you know, when the person that drives me and my dad, you know, 22 years ago, my dad left me at a Jets Dolphins game. It's called the Midnight Miracle. If you ever check it out, just Google it. So the Jets were down 30-7 at the beginning or the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter. And I was like this on the chair, and I was miserable because, again, the Jets are getting blown out. But the Jets were actually decent at that point in time. So, and my dad told me he was leaving. So he walked by me, he said, I'm leaving. Let's go. Then he walked down a few stairs. He's like, let's go, I'm leaving. Then he walked down to the other thing, and he started getting mad. Like, you know, I could see it. And he said, when he says Peter, because he doesn't say with an R, he says it with an A, Peter, you know, he's like, let's go. And then he went down to the last thing where you go around to get
Mhm.
out. And he's like, he pointed, let's go. And I didn't leave. So I just stood there and I'm like, oh man, you know, like what's going to happen, you know? And the guy in front of me, you know, asked me where I, you know, lived or whatever. And I told him where I parked my car. And he's like, oh, I live south of there. I'll give you a ride. No problem. So, you know, I don't know what year it was, but, you know, we always sat with him. But then when the stadium like merged, you know, to the new stadium, you know, we were going to games with him and talking to him, but he started driving us to every single game and we became really good friends. And it's like a 22-year friendship going. And his dad and my dad have the same birthday and they're a year
That's
apart.
crazy.
Yeah. And, you know, I was not in the wedding, but I was invited to both of his kids' weddings already. And I watched his kids from like 5 years old grow up into like, you know, young man and a young woman and another guy, you know, that he's got 3 kids. It's another, you know, another young man. So like it's just incredible. Like I pinch myself because I can't make that up. You can't make the story like that up. And he picks us up every game. We go to every game with him and we're friends. You know, I talk to him almost every day. It's pretty cool. It's wild.
Is
So
he on Twitter?
yeah, he is, but he doesn't like he just reads for the news and stuff.
Yeah. He ain't on there like we on there.
No. He'll make comments like, you know, what are they talking about? I'm not, you know, he thinks we're crazy.
All right, man. Yeah, I agree. I think the season ticket, just being a member, the experience of it is great. And I guess after years and years of going, but if your team have, you know, just a little success or some success, it might not be as bad. You know, like for us being in stadiums at the home team where most of the away fans are there, the experience of it can be just kind of draining, and you just could be like, man, I'm over it. You know what I mean? But when you have experience of having a good team and just the tailgating and just being around people, especially after the past few years we've had dealing with COVID, just the ability to be around people and even like spaces and tailgating, those 2 different things, and meeting people and face to face after being on the Twitter world where you can't see anybody, it's just voices. So you know, like for me, I always try to put a voice to certain people, you know, that I've never seen before, especially if they don't have the profile, doesn't have a picture. But just being able to see people, it makes the conversation and the friendship, you know, on Twitter so much better.
No doubt, bro. And for me, like, if you don't, you know, whatever, I post my picture because I'm me, you know, like,
yeah, me too.
And if people insult me, I just kill them with kindness. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, well, if you got to insult me, you don't feel good about yourself, or I'll throw some reverse psychology, but I just keep it moving, man, you know, because, you know, I could feel your sincerity, bro. And I appreciate what you do for your community and what you're doing. And when you asked me to come on, man, I was blown away. I'm like, because I started this Twitter thing, you know, I know we'll get into Jets, but I actually was on a Twitter space during the Jets season because it just started. And, you know, and I heard this guy Tanad, you know, and I said, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. And then next thing you know, I DM'd him. I'm like, well, I have an idea. Why don't you host the show and I'll co-host? And I said, you host it and we'll see what we could do. And he said, all right, let me think about it. He's like, all right. And then we did one. There was only a couple of people on it. And then the next one I got a guest on. And then after that, you know, the Jet Lounge approached us. You know, we had Damian Woody on one night. There was like 500 and something people on there.
That's crazy. I remember that.
And I was overwhelmed, you know, and I just couldn't believe it. And then now I'm doing this, you know, and I'm just blessed, bro. Like, you know, I'm just given an opportunity and I'm just trying to run with it.
Red Zone in the lab. Be right back.
Hi, I'm Christian Miles, native Washingtonian and real estate agent servicing the Washington metropolitan area. I started my career as an investor and later transitioned to the residential side. I really wanted to leave the investor side because I wanted to connect with people. Building relationships is important to me. I understand the buying and selling process can be challenging. I get it. I've been there. I'm a mom, wife, friend, and neighbor. I absolutely love helping families and connecting with people. Going through the home buying and selling process is stressful enough. When working with me, I make it fun. As a realtor, I think it's important to be able to connect with you. Every detail is important, no matter how small. Let me take care of the heavy lifting while you focus on the joys of finding a new home. Something I live by, people may not remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. With me, it's an experience.
Welcome back to Red Zone in the Lab with Deuce.
So
Let's talk about the Jet Lounge. How's that experience? How did that all work out? Because like I was talking to Happy one time before, I was like, the template you all have is something that I'm striving to do. So we have I have a little team, Red Zone DC, and we have different shows, and that's the template that I'm kind of using because I think it's very cool, and I think it's something that can really grow. Just like you said, it's space. Because like my whole thing is the one day, why can't we have like a network type spitter spaces where, we go from like 9 a.m. to 9 o'clock with different shows every day, different fan bases, different whatever, like the ESPN and the Fox Sports. Why can't we do that? You know what I mean? And just to be able to kind of set something like that, and which you all were doing, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So they have set times each week, different hosts under the same. That's cool. And that's the template that I'm actually using.
Yeah, we just, honestly, man, I can't explain it because it's just like surreal. Like it just came about, and like in the beginning, I'm like, I said, I saw the space pop up and I'm like, what the F is Jet Lounge? Like, so I went on and I heard some, not from the host, but I heard some fans and I heard some kind of whack take. So I raised my hand and I said something, and then, they let me talk. And then the next time I went on, Zach and Anthony, greeted me well. And they're like, they call me Petey Pablo because that's not my, I just put on Twitter, Peter,
right.
Pete, and, they said, and then Anthony, Zach said, yo, Petey Pablo, what do you got to say? And then Anthony said, Petey, like the way he said it, I'm just like, man, these guys, I thought they liked me and I was right, but it was just cool what they did, and then I just started listening more and more. And then I participated more. And then I did a space, and, I did really good. And then so did Tanad. Me and Tanad did very well. And they asked us to join. And they said we can keep our time slot, and that's it, and we're going to grow this thing. And it's just, we have a forum, be respectful, Tanad and I, we'll talk about dialogue. Our views are different than the other people at Jet Lounge, but we're all a team. But my views and Tanad's views may not be the same as, Zach or Anthony's or Happy's. And that's not disrespectful. It's just,
not at all.
We're going to say what we want to say, and, and we're just going to support the team, and it's just a nice platform, and we have a really good following. It was pretty cool. It is pretty cool. I love it, and it's part of my life right now. And I'm looking at you, you're making me smile because it's just, it's good vibes, man. Like this thing is really working, man. Like, and who knows where we're going to go, bro.
That's right.
But I get to meet people like you, and like, I'm really honored. Like I said, like, I'm humbled to do this, man. And I could tell, I see the Jesus in the background, but the first time I heard you, man, I could tell you were spiritual because, I'm spiritual. I don't, I'm not very religious, but I have a higher power, and, and that's what I'll leave it at that. You know what I mean?
Right. It's the acknowledgement of it, which is great. And that's the same thing. I always, I'm not like I can get, when we debate, and I can go into those other spaces and I can get a little loud, but it's just not my forte. Like I know my place. A lot of times I would get invites to come into debate, stuff like that, but I try not to because I know my role on here, and I'm more, like what we're doing now, hosting different things like that. So I'm trying to stay here because I have a bigger purpose. Like I'm not trying to win today. I'm trying to win for the next few years. So I always try to keep myself, like when people see me and look at, they know that this is like who I am in a sense. So, I can get out there a couple times, but I always try to keep this same kill.
And remember, people are always watching us. People are watching me. People are watching you. So, I know it's not about what other people think, but you never know who might hear you one day. And you get that opportunity, bro. If I would love to get paid to, cover sports.
Yeah.
I love sports, man. It's just such an outlet. It's just like, when there was no sports and COVID, man, it was rough, man, and I'm just speechless sometimes. I can't make this up, man. Like getting older, but I'm like, I feel young doing this, man.
Yeah. That's how it is, even I know, I pretty much know for a fact that teams are in these spaces. Teams have big staffs, and I know they're there listening and watching. I just believe that. That's why I always try to, like I say, stay even keel, because they're watching, and all you need is one or two. Like you had Damian Woody, it just blew up. I seen that, and I really actually started on Spaces because Barstool, he this was when Deion Sanders had took the number one corner recruit.
Oh yeah,
a few months back.
State. Yeah.
And Barstool was in a Florida State space, and he kept like teasing them about it or whatever, and they kept kicking him out. And he'll come back with somebody else's account. So all that was good. I was like, what is this? So I started. So I said, oh, this is what people be talking about, Spaces. And then of course Damian Woody, because when you first coming on something, like I didn't know anyone, but I know these people, Barstool, I know Damian Woody. So you join those things, just listening, to all of a sudden, you start saying more. You start following people start following you, and you get to see people in different spaces. Like there are people in these spaces, regular people like you and me, that can talk just as well as any of those guys that's getting paid millions of dollars for this. So that's why I believe that one day, there's going to be some type of compensation for it. Not that I'm doing it for that, but I know the team of people that I have, they work so hard that it'd be good for us and for them for me, not me just saying, hey, I appreciate y'all, but actually showing my appreciation to them. That's what I'm looking forward to.
And bro, like as we go on this convo, because I feel like I could talk to you all night, but well, I always used to tweet Damian, and he'd respond to me. He followed me years ago. I mean, he followed me. I remember. I'm going to tell a good Twitter story real quick. I remember I don't know if you remember when Jason Pierre-Paul was the rookies got hazed and he threw Prince Amukamara in the ice tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that, but I had the video, like I posted it. Like I didn't get it. I got it from somebody else, but Damian Woody asked somebody and somebody tweeted him, oh, Petey Italy has it. And then my phone, like when you get a tweet alert, it said Damian Woody is now following you. And I'm like, what? So I was like, this is a former Jet and a former NFL player. I just thought it was cool, man. And, I never like really DM'd him. I just stayed even keel, and just treated him like a normal person. And then I tweet at him. He tweet me back, not every single time, but he respond. And then when these spaces started, he even when I come on now, even when he talks, he calls me Petey, like it's awesome, bro. And, like I love athletes, like I grew up idolizing Jordan, and Magic. So those were like my two biggest, people that I loved, until I got really into baseball. And I just, with the Mets, but it's like my dream, man, to just talk to athletes. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too, being able to have that opportunity to talk with them, especially when they agree to join, platforms like this and just to chop it up between the two. But so let's talk about some Jets football. I won't pick a few specific players to talk about, and then we can talk about them in whole. But Becton, I'm sorry that he's gone down again. What's that frustration like to fans? First of all, it's my prayers that he gets better, he gets fully healthy to be able to come back and live out his dream. But as far as fans, how's that frustration?
Look, this was the other day. If you could see, there it is.
Yeah, I saw you posted that. Yeah, I
it's
saw
me
that.
and Becton, and look at the smile, man. Like,
yep.
I personally, I feel bad. Like I was really rooting for him. I saw, a lot of the media was ripping him, and I didn't like that. And he wasn't like that when I asked him for a selfie. He was smiling, and I just, I want him to rest up and get better. Obviously he's got to rest up, but it sucked. I kind of had a pit in my stomach the other night, but the season's not over, just like, if somebody on a team goes down, somebody's got to step up, and it's not over, but it's a big loss, but there's 5 offensive linemen for a reason, so one of the 5 went down. There's still 4 others, and they got to fill it in. So whatever they do, I have no choice. If I don't like what they do, I could BITCH. See, I'm being a dad. There's nothing I could do. It's out of my power, but it sucks, but next man up, and whoever they get, I'm going to support. Is it a big loss? Yes. In the run game? Yes. In everything. The guy's just a big man,
Yeah,
like
he
when you
is,
see
man.
him, man, like, it's like, man, it's just like, it's incredible that somebody could be that big and play the game of football the way he did, so shout out to Becton, and, God bless you, and hope you get better, man.
Yeah. Is Dwayne Brown option? How do you feel about him? Because I know he's never played right tackle.
No.
But that's what you all will want him to play, right? Because you're not going to move.
We don't want to move Fan because, it's a tricky situation, because Fan actually moved over last year, and he played well. He played really well. And but that's going to be the coach's decision. If Brown's never played right tackle, and he's going to be 37 this year, 38, whatever he's going to be, I guess you got to keep him, at some point, and then that may upset Fan, but they'll figure it out. They're making millions of dollars. They'll play. He's gonna do his thing, but I don't know, man. Maybe they go in a different direction. Maybe they wait for somebody to get cut. Because somebody always gets cut before the end.
Yeah.
And there's always the surprise wow. Like there's always a wow that gets cut every year, and maybe Joe Douglas does that. Who knows? He tends to wait. He tends to strike. He does. The Jets got a window now. He stripped the team down. He rebuilt it. He's rebuilding it, and they got to start winning, man. Because his draft picks now that he fleeced for Jamal Adams. Now it's got to turn into bigger and better things. Now it's got to start seeing results.
Yeah. So speaking of that, round 2, pick 36. I liked him for us, but once we got back J.D. McKissick, I didn't think we was going to go that route. So Breece Hall, what was that? Was that something that was on your board?
I got to give I don't know if you ever heard Joe and Clark speak on the Jet Lounge. He's a wild Jet and Met fan, but I didn't think the Jets were gonna, pick a running back in the second round because they had Michael Carter.
Right.
I mean, they got aggressive and they got the best running back on paper in college. And I mean, the guy's a human highlight reel, you know? And I think he's going to make things easier for Wilson because now teams, you know, if they dare the Jets to throw, you know, they have weapons now, you know, and I'm sure we'll get into that. You know, they had weapons, but everybody was, a lot of people were injured last year. Like they played 60 snaps with Elijah Moore, Jamison Crowder, who you know, and
Most definitely.
and Corey Davis. You know, Jamison went to Buffalo, which I'm not too happy about, but you got to do what you got to do. But 60 plays, Deuce. So that's equivalent to a game. So he played one game with his 3 top receivers, you know, like that's why I get on some fans. Like, what did you expect when these guys aren't playing? You know, like they're decimated. You know, I know it's a part of the game, but come on. But now,
like there are levels to skills, right? So I know all those. I know when you let's look at it like depth chart, right? You have your first string, second string, third string. There's a reason why we have those strings. Like third string is not better than the first string. It's just what it is. It's just a whole nother world when we're talking about NFL. Like we're looking at the NFL like, hey, it's the NFL. They should know this, this, and that. That's good from us looking at them. But as the NFL world itself, there are people that are way better than others. So for us to kind of expect for a young quarterback to be able to blossom with third stringers, second stringers, is just not feasible, right?
No. And for instance, you know, even though I'm just going to go a little off, like the Jets at the end of the year, we're on their eighth safety, you know, so at that point, you know, one game they were missing 19 guys with, you know, that, and the coach because of COVID. So it was crazy, man. And, you know, when you have a young quarterback, you know, you got to develop, and it's hard when you don't have, you know, the pieces around, man. It's hard. I mean, I liked what I saw out of Wilson because I know that's going to be one of the questions, you know, but he's got an arm, but he's got to, you know, he's got to step up and he's got to start making better decisions. And I believe that he's going to do that. Am I thinking he's going to go crazy this year? And what I hear on Twitter, I'm not being doom or gloom, but I don't think it's going to be as high as people think. But I do think there's going to be major improvement, which to me, if you improve from your first to second year and you do have a nice jump, then you're set up your career for good success. So that's what
I
I'm
agree.
looking for.
So do you think is Breece Hall going to be a major part to the offense?
Yes.
Because he's looking good in camp. I will say that.
I mean, he's shifty. You know, he can catch. You know, he can run. He runs a 4.3. And, yeah, I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Jets, but they're young, you know, so you got to have that mentality of it's us against the world, you know, and that's how I think they're going to play it this year because they're probably not going to be favorite in a lot of games, or at least for now they're not until they start winning. So they got to win because you don't get respect if you don't win.
I tell you what, y'all win that week 1 game. I don't know. It might get a little crazy in Jersey.
Yeah. That's
because I know Twitter gonna be crazy.
Well, one thing, the spaces, man, they're gonna be lit, you know, regardless.
All right. So Zach Wilson, what's your take on Zach Wilson, his progress? Do you think he can be a top 5 quarterback within the next few years?
I'm not going to say that yet. I do think he has a top 5 arm talent right now. Yes. So I have to see more. What I think, you know, I'm always going to try and be pro Jet, but you know, if he can get in the top 10 in a couple of years, you know, I'll be thrilled. You know, a top 10 quarterback is, you know, we can go to the list, you know. If he could be anything like Matthew Stafford was, you know, like that's, to me, you win a Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
He's very underrated, Stafford, and he can throw. But Zach Wilson's arm, to me, is just, it's incredible, man. Like, I've only seen one Jet quarterback, you know, kind of throw like that. And just the throws he made last year were like really like beyond exciting. Like the one play where he pointed to the guy to go
Yep.
55, like you rarely
On the
see
run.
that.
Yeah.
And he just stopped. You know what I'm saying? And he went like this. I mean, he put some oomph into it, but it still went. Some quarterbacks have to plant, you know, and go all out, use their hips, everything. He doesn't have to do that. So I do believe that he can be that, you know, eventually. But this year, I just need to see some major improvement.
Do you
So
have the skill position guys around him to, you know, upset a lot of people and make the playoffs? Can he do that with the skill position players that he has?
I think he can. I think it's going to take a little time, but you know he's got continuity now. His offensive coordinator's back.
Right.
You know, Elijah Moore's back if he's healthy. I think Elijah Moore is going to be really something special.
I
You know,
like him.
Corey Davis is, you know, he gets hurt, but he's underrated. I think he could be really good with them. And then you got Braxton Berrios.
Now, I like Braxton Berrios. I like him coming out of college. Now, Corey Davis, that guy these last couple of years on my fantasy, he just let me down. He let me down the last couple of years in fantasy. That's how I kind of follow him and I know who he is, you know, kind of
He
know
was a
his
top
game.
five. He was a top
He
five pick.
was. Yeah,
I know.
he
So
was. Yep.
the expectations on him
It's
are
high.
just
Yep.
great. But I mean, you know, Davis could be that nice, you know, second or third. The pressure doesn't have to be on David. He was good with Tennessee that one year where he wasn't the
He
main guy.
showed it.
AJ
Yep.
Brown was, and he had a great year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm expecting big things from Davis, you know, not like, you know, 1,500 yards, but if he can get somewhere between 800 and, you know, 1,050 or 1,100 yards out of Corey Davis, I'd be thrilled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I like I like Berrios too.
Yes, and I didn't even mention Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, of course.
The guy can jump, you know, he can catch. You know, I started following him towards the end of the college year, and you know, I think he can be a playmaker. I think the Jets just need to work him in and don't just throw it at him, because being a rookie in a wide receiver room it's not easy to adjust right away. I think it's one of the hardest positions to adjust to, you know, in football, even though I'm not an NFL player. You know, I'm an athlete, and I just think that transition is really hard.
How is Garrett Wilson looking in camp?
I mean, he's fit. He made a nice catch the other day, but he actually beat Sauce Gardner one-on-one down the sideline, but Sauce recovered at the end, and Wilson didn't get inbounds. You know, it was a nice catch, though. Zach Wilson only put it where Garrett Wilson could catch it, which was good, but it was incomplete. But Garrett's making some plays. He's taking I see he's doing some special teams on punt returns. I was at camp a couple of times, and you know, I'm excited for him. You know, Jets usually don't draft wide receivers in the first round. The last time they drafted one was Santana Moss.
And thank you for that. Yes, thank you.
We traded him with. I love Lavernius Coles though, but Coles was good for you guys too.
Yeah, he was. So, but I'm glad he got Santana.
Yeah, he was he's a beast, man. He was the man.
What's going on with Sauce, man? I like him and the guy with the Texans. I can't think of his name.
Jacob Martin.
No, the corner.
DJ Reed.
No, the corner they selected the first the
Sauce
pick.
Gardner.
No, not the Jets. I'm talking about
Stingley.
Yeah, Derek Stingley Jr. I like them too, man. Yeah, I like Sauce.
Yeah, Stingley was, you know, I was shocked that Stingley went before Sauce.
Yeah.
I was stunned. Well, I said shocked, but I was stunned.
Especially with his injury. I didn't think he was.
And I thought the Jets were going to take an offensive lineman at 4. And when they took Sauce, you know, and then you see the Jets made like this thing called Flight 2022, like the series, like of the off season. And they wanted Sauce Gardner all along, which was cool. listen, if there's anybody I'm really excited for, and, everybody wants to talk about Breece Hall, for me, like, because I watch Darrelle Revis play every play, man. So I'm excited. I'm excited about Sauce, bro.
Yeah.
I watch him run, the way he turns his hips, the way he defends. He's literally locking people down. Now, I know it's only against the Jet guys, but I'm excited about him big time. I think he can be, I think he can be in the tops within a year or two.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him this year and Stingley. So let's talk about Coach Salah. Let's if you could just kind of give us what it was like before Salah and what it's like now.
Well, we went from Adam Gase, probably the worst coach.
This guy, right? This guy,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, you could do it even wider. He was. I don't even want to insult the guy, because he's got a family or whatever, but he was a bad coach. Things didn't go right, and he's the complete opposite. Like, he just kept deflecting things. When the people asked him stuff, oh, we got to look at the film. Kind of like robotic. Salah just brings a different type of energy. You could just tell, like, he's positive. The men respect him on the team, and the jury's still out, though. He's got to win games, but the way he's presenting himself, I really like him. I think he can do it. I really do. He's on the same page with the general manager, which is great. You need that, and I just think he has this motto: all gas, no brake. So, like, I like the motto. I've been posting on Twitter, he wears a shirt. A couple of the Jet coaches wear shirts, positive vibes only, and I guess
saw that earlier.
The Jets are trying to change their motto, and they're, because let's face it, they haven't really done anything in the last 10 years. So it's really tough, man, and that guy is bringing a different mentality here, and he's trying to change the culture. And I think he did. But now it's time to win. So we'll see what he does this year. But I'd love to talk to that guy and just pick his brain, like, for 10 minutes, and just enjoy it. Just ask him, like, how you doing? Like, you're an awesome guy. That's somebody I want to talk to.
Yeah, indeed.
Red Zone in the lab. Be right back.
I want you all to go check out You Grow Girl. That's Grow, Grow. Written by a dear friend of mine, Jay Smith. It's for daily affirmations for Black women. It is filled with beautiful, colorful images of Black women and powerful affirmations. You can find it at Amazon at Amazon.com.
Welcome back to Red Zone in the lab with Deuce.
Before we get out of here, Pete, what's your expectations for the Jets this season?
I'm thinking anywhere from 7 to 9 wins, but it all depends on how they get out of the break, and their buys after week 9. But like you said, man, if they beat Baltimore week 1, if they do, I think things can change, because especially with Watson being out, I don't think Cleveland's going to be as good right away. So I don't want to start looking ahead, but, the Jets have a really tough schedule at the beginning. But if they can somehow get to that bye week right around 500,
that'd be great. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm looking for improvement, though, and just, doing, rooting for them, cheering for them, doing the JETS, Jets chant, screaming, and just meeting new people at the stadium.
What do you have planned for? Because that game is in Jersey, right? The first game.
Yeah.
What do you have planned for that game as far as tailgating?
Well, I'm gonna go. We're gonna leave about. I'll leave my house probably 7:30ish. And then we'll get picked up, and then get to the stadium, and then we'll tailgate, and then the Jet Lounge has an event that day, so I always stay with my dad. I'm gonna leave for a little bit, but I'm going to come back, after the first series or the first quarter. I'm just going to go up to my seats and stay with my dad.
Yeah.
It's kind of tradition with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm thinking of it, I'm probably going to go to the park that day before I hope I get up early enough, to take a knee for 9/11, and
Most definitely.
say a prayer, because, it's a pretty tough day, especially where my age, it was, so surreal up here.
Yeah, let's switch a little bit before we end. That you bring that up. How was that experience for you? Because I don't get an opportunity to talk to too many people that actually was so close by when it actually happened. Because you can like see the smoke. I mean, you can just talk to us about it a little bit.
Oh man, it's just it's the worst day of our country, what happened, and after that happened, when it happened, I had no idea what was going on. I was younger, I was in my 20s, and so I had to be in work at 11 o'clock that day. So I got up, and where I was living, I was living with my mom at the time, staying at my mom's, and there's a whole boardwalk there you could walk, and the bay's right there, and then New York's right, 14 miles away by boat, but longer if you drive. It's like 40. And I just saw all these people there, and I was like, I didn't think nothing of it. So then I went and got a coffee and, a bagel, whatever I got, an egg white sandwich, whatever I got that day. I don't remember exactly what I got, but I remember it was a clear day. It was picture perfect day. And then I went to turn on the sports radio because sports started at 10 a.m. on WFAN up here in New York. And, they said the Twin Towers are down. And I just, like, what? And then I looked to the left and somebody was driving, and like they were like this driving. And I just said, I was just like, what? And they said the plane hit the two buildings, like two planes each hit, one by one. And I tried to call my mom, and I couldn't get through. And then it wasn't just a panic. It was just like, you didn't know what was going to happen, and then after that, when everything happened, everybody was just united, man. Like, yeah. Everybody was driving around with flags on their, antennas, because that's now cars don't have antennas.
Right.
I
didn't even have any thought about that, but you're right.
Yeah. And, like, there was no freaking what's going on today, man. Like, there was none of that, and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
dude.
Yeah.
And
most definitely.
And this is for you, deuces. And it was just like united, man, and people got along, and people were nice, and people changed because of that. And I usually get pretty choked up and emotional. I'm surprised I'm not right now, but I'm sure that day, at the stadium, like, there'll be a lot of teary-eyed there, especially, like, I went to the 9/11 10th anniversary when the Jets played your arch nemesis, the Cowboys, and we beat them, but it was, if you get a chance, man, maybe I'll send you the link. Watch that for 4 minutes, and you see even some of the players were teared up, man. It was incredible that night, but it was just, man, it was scary, man. You didn't know what was going to happen.
I can imagine, man. I wonder, I'm gonna email you. I'm gonna DM you my email address. You can send that to me, because, I love New York. We try to get up there every year for something, right? And one year we did do the 9/11 memorial, the museum, and we got through about maybe 60% of it. And I just had to like walk, like the first 60% of it, we can look in and read. And after that, like 60% halfway through, I couldn't stop and read. I just walked the last. So I don't know what was actually there the second half of the little tour, really, because it was so much to handle. it was too much to handle.
Yeah, it's important for people to know and never forget, you know.
Yep.
And I appreciate you saying that, man, because you know, just when I seen, you know, I get upset when they play it over and over, especially but when you see people jumping out of buildings, man, you know, like that's all I'm gonna say, man. You know, and I just, you know, I love New York, and I love, I love you, you know, like I love people, man, and we just got to get better, you know.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. Next time I'm up that way, man, I'm gonna let you and Happy know, man. Hope maybe we can meet up.
Let me know. I'm a man of my word.
Yep.
We'll meet up.
Yep, because Happy said he gonna treat me good. He gonna buy some good food.
Well, you want to stick to me with the food.
Yeah, I heard y'all back and forth.
But man,
man.
I don't
this
know.
has been good.
Yeah, and like I said, man, I can't thank you enough. I could talk to you bro, like I'm honored that you did this for me, man. Like, you know, not just for me, for you.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I'm proud of what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, I'm sure there's going to be haters that, you know, whatever, but keep that head straight, man, and just, you know, keep going forward because, you know, this thing is real, man, and I'm willing to build this with anybody, man. And you're one of the people that, you know, that's going to do good in this. I know it, and I already know, you know, you're good at what you do, and don't ever let anybody tell you differently, you know, because I criticize myself and I tell when I hear myself on recordings, I'm like, man, you know, I don't sound right, you know, and then I get feedback like, yo, you were incredible, you know, so just keep it up, you know. We need to tell each other that and pick each other up because, you know, who knows where we're going, Deuce, you know.
That's right.
I'm just honored to do this. I know I told you 50 times, so make it 51. And, you know, if you got anything else to ask, you know, whatever, I'm still here. But if we're going to end this, I shout out to I try not to say it, the Commanders. You know, I don't like the Giants, so I hope you guys do good this year. You know, I love Terry McLaurin. He's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I like your other fan, A. Dot. He's cool.
Yeah. A. Dot be out there just. Man, we come into spaces, they be like, yeah, because y'all think this, like, oh, A. Dot must have been through here. Yeah. But Petey, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for coming on. You know, I reached out to you like a couple months ago, say, hey, look, I want you to be one of my first guests when we open up season 3. So I do appreciate you coming on, man. Keep doing what y'all going, keep putting pressure on you and Sanaa. You know, when I can, I'm gonna continue to step in there. I've been coming up a little more as a speaker, just trying to, you know, for different people that don't know kind of, you know, who I am, what I do. So just look forward for me, man. Bring me up sometimes, you know, saying just to kind of get out there. But again, so just let us know the name of your show, the time, and any other content that you have.
Can I? So the name of my show is Take Flight, 8:30 p.m. You know, Twitter Spaces. You know, we meet Monday nights at 8:30. I usually try and get a credible guest. I've been doing good with that.
Yes, you have.
And you know, I just talk to them like regular people, and I just message and. You know, we have a forum, we interview somebody, we ask questions, we go around the rooms, we do topics, and that's every Monday at 8:30. So usually every Monday. And the Jet Lounge has, you know, shows Monday morning, if you don't mind me plugging that real quick.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
With Benny and Justin on Monday mornings at 8:30 a.m. So that's gonna be lit, you know, after the
Sunday,
games, you know, it's Monday morning, Victory Monday or losing Monday. Then we come on Monday night. You know, we'll be going up against Monday Night Football, but I'm sure people are going to want to talk football.
Yeah.
Tuesday, the Jet Lounge, the original, the OG, you know, the original. That's at 7. Wednesday we got Happy Jet from I think 12 to 3 or 1 to 4, whatever he does. All takes, no breaks. Then Thursday there's another Jet Lounge OG show, at 7. Then with Sack, Anthony, and Ray, and then Sack and Anthony do the Tuesday, Thursday, and then Friday night. We're jam packed, man. Friday
man,
night
I love it.
is Joe and Clark and Kenny. It's called Friday Night Lights, so they're going to preview the upcoming game, and then Sunday night is Sack and Anthony and Ray again. After the game, so that's going to be wild, man. So we got a lot of shows, and
especially if y'all beat Baltimore, man. I'm definitely coming in there.
Yeah,
I'm
do me a
definitely
favor,
coming in
man.
there.
Sometimes, like if I can come on, I'll come on, man. But it's just
Most definitely.
Sometime like you do it sometimes at like 3 p.m. So
I know, it'd be early.
Send me the link, DM me. I always answer, and keep doing your thing, bro. Be proud of yourself.
Will do.
And I'd love to meet you one day, man.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Next time we plan to come up there, I will reach out. Trust me. Because I know when we went to Canada, we stayed in Buffalo, and I reached out to some of the Buffalo Twitter guys. Hey, where should I go? Where are the best places? So that's another perk to Twitter. You have contacts all over. So wherever you go, is somebody on Twitter.
Yep.
That can kind of point you in the right direction. But that is Pete Pablo. I appreciate you for coming on, man. I appreciate all of you for watching. I appreciate all of you for listening. This is Red Zone in the Lab podcast. I am Dion Deuce Backney. One beat, one sound, one heart, one love.
Thank you for listening to Red Zone in the Lab podcast. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Red Zone in the Lab. And you can download our podcast at Spotify, iTunes, and Podbean. And please visit our website at redzoneinthelab.com. Thank you.